as well try. You won't console me. Might as well lie. You can control me. Where will you hide? Nobody owed you. I'm gonna show you. Was it all just in my head? I feel your hands around my neck. 'Cause you
Good morning. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning, Emily. And how are you today?
I'm great, ready for the contests. The District 13 Division B contest, Division A contest today.
We
Lots
certainly,
of excitement.
I'm sorry. It's well to note that the contestants we'll be hearing today have already gone through a gauntlet, haven't they? They have all won the contest or are placed perhaps second, depending on details, in their club and subsequently at the area level. And now they are here at the division level, the Division A contest, and the winners here will go on to our district conference to be held a little later in the spring.
Yes. And the spring conference, actually, we can plug the spring conference now on April 29th, 30th, and May 1st at the Marriott North in Cranberry. Everybody, all the winners today will be there, all the winners of the division contests. There's still several more to go. There's Division C and Division D yet to go.
We're ready for Stephanie now. So
Great.
this is our district quality director, as I remember.
She's our program quality
Program
director.
quality director, of course.
Stephanie Scott.
We are so excited to get started. I just want to welcome anybody who happens to be watching today and sit back, relax, and enjoy. You're going to have fun. And we're going to get ready to get started here shortly. Talk to you later.
Bye, Steph. Stephanie Scott is the first person in Toastmasters who inspired me, and I will follow Stephanie Scott here. So that's here today. Toastmasters is where leaders are made.
We're going to the contest now.
We're now live contest.
Honor and a privilege to serve as your contest chair this morning. The Toastmasters International Organization's mission is to empower individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders. Speech contests are an important part of the Toastmasters educational program. They provide an opportunity for Toastmasters to gain speaking experience, as well as an opportunity for other Toastmasters to learn by observing proficient speakers. Serving more than 300,000 members in 15,800 clubs in 149 countries, Toastmasters truly is where leaders are made. This morning, we will begin with our evaluation contest. The evaluation contest measures how well each contestant evaluates the model speaker's speech. Once the model speaker has spoken, our Sergeant-at-Arms will take the contestants to a holding room in which they have 5 minutes to prepare their written notes. Then, one by one, the contestants will return to the contest room to deliver their 2 to 3 minute evaluations. Just a few housekeeping rules before we get started. Please, everyone, turn off all smartphones, tablets, or any device that could cause a distraction during the contest. The audience is to remain seated while contestants are speaking. The doors will remain closed during the contest. If you must leave the room, please do so during the 1 minute of silence between each contestant. You may re-enter the room before the next contestant begins his or her speech, or after they have finished speaking. The taking of photographs during the speech contest is not permitted. There will be plenty of photo opportunities directly after the contest. I can confirm that the contestants have been briefed. Madam Chief Judge, have the contest officials been briefed?
Yes, ma'am. The judges, ballot counters, and timers have all been briefed.
Thank you very much. Let the evaluation contest begin. The order of contestants are as follows. Contestant number 1, Linnell Goins. Contestant number 2, John Harshman. Contestant number 3, Brenda Holt DeWolman. Contestant number 4, Scott Roman. And contestant number 5, John Sinclair. Once again, contestant number 1, Linnell Goins. Contestant number 2, John Harshman. Contestant number 3, Brenda Holt DeWolman. Contestant number 4, Scott Roman. And contestant number 5, John Sinclair. I am happy to introduce our moderator speaker for today's contest, Mr. Jeff Kennedy. Everything sucks. Everything sucks, Mr. Jeff Kennedy.
Everything sucks. All you have to do is turn on the news. They'll tell you. We're potentially headed towards another world war. We're still in the middle of a pandemic. And to top it off, the model speaker didn't show up today, so I'm up here trying to remember my speech from last week. Let me ask you this. Do you know somebody like this? Man, did you see that world champion of public speaking last year? Man, she was good. The way she spoke was fluent. Everything about it was perfect. There's no way I could ever do that. Why even try? I'm not at that level. I'll just be embarrassed. Yeah, I'm not going to join the contest. Who here knows someone like that? Everybody should have their hand up because that was me, and you guys know me now. That was me about 2 years ago when I joined Toastmasters. And after joining for just a couple of months, I attended my first spring conference, which for some reason I took charge of. Yeah. But I got to watch the District 13 speech contest. And man, there were some good speakers there. And I honestly thought to myself, there's no way. There's no way. The nice thing about this, it was a limiting belief. It wasn't true. In about 5 minutes, or at the end of this speech contest, when you walk out of here, you're going to walk away with 4 strategies to help change your mindset, to get rid of those limiting beliefs, simply by breaking your rope. Now, what do I mean by that? When an elephant is born into captivity, the first trick they teach it is to not escape. So what they do is they take a chain and they tie it to the elephant's leg. And as hard as it pulls, and it pulls, and it pulls, it eventually learns that it can't break that chain. Fast forward to when that calf is a full-blown elephant. The elephant is now much stronger, much bigger. That elephant could easily rip through anything. However, it can actually be held in place with a simple rope around its leg. Now you think, man, that animal's huge. It could break that rope easily. Exactly. It's been conditioned, it's learned that it cannot break free. So even though it's a much less strong material, elephant doesn't even try. It doesn't even try. Do you have any limiting beliefs in your life that might have been a chain when you were younger, but now might be a rope? Raise your hand. I have good news for all of you today. Again, it's just mindset. So the 4 strategies that you can use to break this mindset. Number 1, never compare yourself to others. You're on your own journey. A couple years ago when I watched that speaker at the District 13 contest, I was comparing myself to them, not realizing that they've had years of experience, and I was only a couple months into my Toastmasters journey. Of course I wasn't going to be at that level yet. However, I'm working on it. Strategy number 2. Celebrate the wins. Celebrate the wins. Whenever you go into, there was a teacher in the classroom of an elementary school, and he wrote 10 equations on the board before his class came in, because he wanted to review it to class. 1 plus 1 equals 2, 2 plus 2 equals 4, 3 plus 3 equals 7, 4 plus 4 equals 8, 5 plus 5 equals 10. The kids came in. He's like, hey, I want you to study these equations. One of the kids raised his hand and said, teacher, 3 plus 3 equals 6, not 7. It's like, actually, that's a very good point. But why did you point out my one mistake when I got 9 of them correct? Always celebrate those wins. On the other side of things, make sure you learn from your mistakes. Learn from your failures. I had a situation when I worked out at the University of Virginia. I was in charge of sending out emails, and there were a lot of people on this email list. And I got one of the numbers wrong. I think I put 25% off instead of 15% off. So I was one of those guys that had to write, oops, we made a mistake. Sorry about that, and had to send out another email. I got called into my boss's office. He was none too pleased. I had the opportunity to talk to him about it, and I was smiling when I left that room. And he goes, are you okay failing? I said, yeah, as long as I learn from it. I haven't made that mistake again. I always send myself a test email and have someone else read it. Strategy number 4. Seek out help. No one in this room is doing anything that someone hasn't already done before. Seek out help. Most of this speech today was actually provided to me by the 1999 world champion of public speaker, Craig Valentine. He gave me a lot of the strategies for this speech today. Now, do I have his phone number where I can just call him up? No, I can't do that. However, I do have his book. And I read through the book and learned a lot of tips and tricks about this speech. There's always somebody that you can learn from. Seek out the help, whether you ask for it or look for it yourself. Now, I asked you guys before if you've ever felt this way, like maybe you were held back by a chain that is now a rope. Using these 4 strategies, you're going to be able to change your mindset. Now, before this speech, you were all handed a rope. Okay, it's a piece of yarn, but you guys are not as big as elephants, so I think this is going to work. What I want you guys to do is grab the piece of rope on each side and close your eyes and think of that limiting belief right now that is holding you back. Something that you don't think you can do, but maybe you can do in the future. And when I say the word rope, I want you to yank at this as hard as you possibly can. Break that rope. Pull as hard as you can. And if you cannot pull it, it just means you're going to have to get a little bit stronger, and you're going to keep working on it. But I want you guys to look down at this rope, this broken rope potentially, and I want you to remember this. There's a lot of negativity in this world. It is often going to feel like everything sucks. But remember, if you follow those 4 strategies and you continue to get better, and you can continue to get stronger, you're going to break a lot of ropes in your life. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff Kennedy. Will the Sergeant at Arms please escort the contestants out of the room, and they will have 5 minutes.
Good morning to our virtual audience in cyberspace. Thank you so much for joining Division A contest, speech and evaluation contest today. Welcome. You're enjoying this from your own living room. This is a live Division A contest today. Over to you, Dan.
And thank you, Emily. And I would like to add my welcome to our virtual audience. What we have just heard is what we call the model speech of the evaluation contest. The model speech itself is not part of the contest per se. It is the speech that will be evaluated by a sequence of 5 different evaluators, all evaluating the same speech. And so this speech was something you might often hear in Toastmasters. It covered this speaker's own experience in Toastmasters, how he started off being afraid of speaking, and he had this limiting belief, as he called it, that no way I can get that good. Do you know, was it like that for you, Emily, or do you know people in Toastmasters who approached it with the same attitude?
Pretty much. And I've got to give it to Jeff. What I want to say is I want to give it to Jeff for he was the last minute fill-in. He was not the designated speaker, but at the last minute, she couldn't make it. And so Jeff came right up to the stage, took it on, and gave his speech. Everything sucks. Nothing sucked in his speech today. He did a great job last minute. So lots of, this is what the leaders that Toastmasters make, this is what they look like. This is what they sound like. This is what they feel like. He did a great job filling in at the last minute. And with the Toastmasters training that he described in his speech, he was all that and more this morning.
Yes, you know, that's one of the things, in addition to just learning how to stand up and speak in Toastmasters, something else we learned, as you just discussed, is sometimes you're called upon at the last minute to do something. And this happens in our professional lives, in perhaps the organizations that we're a part of. And the ability to step forward and perform when you weren't expecting to have to is something that happens in Toastmasters, because in a given club, everybody has their lives. At the last minute, somebody will just say, I'm sorry, I can't come in there to be the table topics master. That very thing happened to me Thursday night in one of my clubs. Somebody else filled in, and often enough, I have had to fill in for others. You get used to being able to do that, and it's an important skill, isn't it?
It is, Dan. Preparation is one of the things that we practice at the Toastmasters meetings, because we're not we're not getting good at Toastmasters for the club. This is where we come and practice. The meetings are, but this is what we practice for. This is the show. This is the contest. This is the real world. At the contest today, this is showing how we're prepared to take on things in the real world. Because as a Toastmaster, we're called out into the real world. We go far beyond the club. This is where we get trained to be prepared for the unexpected. And Jeff has proved that this morning in the greatest way possible. He's given us a live demonstration of what it's like. Hey, this person who was scheduled didn't show up. Can you get up there and do it? And there he was.
That's right. You learn to step forward, don't you?
We do. We do. And in the world we're living in now, as he started with at the beginning of his speech, this part that sucks is that Now everybody is unexpected. Everything is unexpected. Anything can happen. And the ones who are prepared are the ones who lead. That's Toastmasters training.
And another point that's I think it's worth making, there's lots of ways you can train yourself. You speak of Toastmasters training, but this is a fun way to train, right? You're a member of a Toastmasters club. Typically, a couple times a month, you're going to meet, and we all like each other. You hear speeches. We hear speeches from each other about things that don't come up in our own lives all the time, because you'll have everything from professionals to tradespeople to people who are like you and I, retired. They can do all kinds of other things, but it's just simply fun, and you just regularly have this practice of giving speeches, but also taking on different roles in a meeting, and it's a revolving door of all the different roles you perform. Every meeting you do something as a member, and it's a fun way to train yourself, isn't it?
It
It's not like a
is.
class.
No, it's not, because we're with this. We've built a community. We know each other, and everything may suck during COVID, except we've got Zoom, we've got the virtual world, we've stayed connected throughout. And I think that's one of the main things that's gotten a lot of us through, is knowing that once a week we're going to meet with the same group of people, where we're going to find support, encouragement. We prepare what happens in our real life and make it into a speech, make it into a presentation, make it into table topics. And now, of course, we have the advantage of not just staying within our local clubs, but we can travel throughout the world, going to other cultures, other countries, places where maybe we want to go in real life. And we get to show all that. We get to bring that all back to our meetings. We're back.
The
Rhetorical questions, but you got to give people a little bit of time to think. But then he asks actual questions as well, show of hands, blah, blah, blah. So I like that interaction. That's a good way of keeping the audience engaged, as we all know. And of course, there was the comedic elements. He alternated between being somewhat serious
But it's always good to laugh, particularly Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock in the morning and things like that. Some of the things that Mr. Kennedy should work on, in some cases, enunciation. He was making a point where he said breaking blank, and I just didn't catch what he said. But luckily, the next thing he started talking about the baby elephant and the rope. I said he probably said breaking rope or breaking chain or something like that, so it's good. Wonderful. And that baby elephant example was really good. Those of us who spent any time in education have probably seen a lot of examples of students, animals and whatnot, not being able to reach their potential because of the barriers that are put in place, etc. But on the other hand, during the speech, I kept thinking, well, at the beginning he talked about everything sucks, talking about the wars and everything, but then during the speech it seemed to be more life lessons, and I said, we're kind of getting away from everything sucks, but he saved it. At the end, he said, he referenced everything sucks again, and tied everything that he said into his speech, so I thought that was very good. Excellent. Let's see. Oh, and the rope, that, you know, I spent the whole time wondering what that was. I didn't know if it was a hair extension or what it was. Maybe I could take a few and leave it in my hair or something like that. So that's another good thing. I didn't even know it was his, but that was a very good example. I wish I could have looked around and seen how many people actually broke the rope. I didn't. But anyway, excellent job. Just keep up the good work. I will work on myself on trying to memorize speech by organizing it very well, in which you did a very fine job. Thank you. I'll turn it back over to the Madam Contest Chair at this time.
Jeff, I almost forgot to write my evaluation because when I got back there, I'm going to do push-ups. I felt that much stronger after hearing your speech. You did some excellent things, a couple things that you could tweak, and one thing I think could really challenge yourself. You were able to engage the audience early. You passed out the rope. There were murmurings. And you got up here and you started speaking. This sucks. That sucks. And we're like, whoa, this is crazy. What sucks? And then you introduced the rope again at the end of that introduction. And at the end, you broke the rope. It kept us engaged the entire time, wondering what this rope was for and how you were going to use it. You also engaged us through asking those questions to relate feelings that you have that other people will also share. Your visualization was great. Your analogy with the elephant was so strong. It was so impactful. It made my stomach turn. But I don't think there could have been anything more powerful to say at that point. Something that could have helped your speech out a little bit was to make the intro a little more succinct. It seemed like you had a double introduction. You talked about that thought process when introduced us to the 4 strategies, said the elephant analogy, reintroduced us to the 4 strategies, and then got into the body of your speech. I think you could have moved the elephant analogy up and say, too bad an elephant doesn't have, or, an elephant with its mindset would have this whenever he had the chain tied to his leg, or just tease the 4 strategies. Too bad the elephant doesn't have some strategies that I have whenever he's tied up to a chain. Another thing that I noticed, when you got through your 1, 2, 3, and 4 points, they were very powerful points. You left out your 3rd point, kind of, this is just a minor detail, but you were very deliberate with saying strategy 1, strategy 2. And then there's this, strategy 4. That would have just helped tie things together. It could be confusing to the audience to say, wait, what happened in that 3rd strategy? I only heard you introduce 3 of them. But I think would be amazing and would really challenge yourself, and I think could take it to the next level of speeches or even a speech contest, is to grab on to one thing, one item in your life where you had that self-doubt and you didn't want to move forward, but you use these 4 strategies to overcome that self-doubt. I think that's a speech that could go for in a speech contest and really help you elevate your game. Madam Contest Chair.
To hear their perspective on Jeff's speech. In turn, for Jeff, as a thank you for giving this test speech this morning, he gets 5 different perspectives on his speech. So when he goes forward with that speech, he'll have many more suggestions with which to improve his speech if he so chooses. We all know, Dan, sometimes the suggestions ring true and sometimes they don't.
That's an interesting point, Emily. In Toastmasters, I once gave one of these packages in Toastmasters. Sometimes when you give a speech, it's not a speech of the usual sort, but one that is, shall we say, about Toastmasters doctrine, internal things. And it was effective evaluations. An interesting point that you have to realize about evaluations, that in the end, it's what you can take from it. So you get an evaluation, and the evaluator did their best to make the points that they feel would improve your speech. You don't necessarily have to accept that. You can actually think, that particular point doesn't ring true. But that's another thing in life. You always want to be open to feedback, but don't be slavish about it.
We're off.
Right?
It extends from what's going on in the world to right now. Right now, for me, this sucks. So it definitely is real, which is great. It gives a lot of inspiration and some ideas of what we can do about that. And the elephant story. I had heard that before, but you know what? It's something that's good to hear over and over again. Like, you talk about when an elephant's young. Many of us are young in Toastmasters. Right now, I feel kind of young here. I got my cane. It's around here. I'm trying. I'm growing. But it's still there. It's something we've got to think about. The visual is really great. And I got to tell you, whenever you came as this other great visual of the rope, I got to tell you, I was really nervous. I wasn't breaking it. So, and I'm looking around, again, to your points, judging other people. This is our own journey. We can't judge. But I tell you what, I wanted my journey to be like I was pulling tight, and it was hard. But that's okay. This is my journey. And that's one thing I think about everybody. Everybody's on their own journey. And that's what's really important to remember. The other thing you said about, you gave some instructions about being on your own journey, learning from others, celebrating your wins, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. All that's happening to me right now. So just keep that in mind. But those were great. That's exactly what's needed. We need to have those memories and to think about them in the order, too. If something happens, like your story, you brought up your own example of when your boss said something to you. And that's great. We've got to learn from that. And it's better if we can learn from your mistake. So that's part of it. Be able to learn from other people's mistakes. Some other things, too, I did think about when you talked about everything sucks. And And it does, in a sense, what is your mindset? Mindset's a huge thing. So that's one thing we all gotta remember. It's our mind. One situation can be one way. It doesn't change. It's how you think about it that makes it change. That's really important. A couple of things I would say as far as for the next speech is when you came up here, you said that you're up here because the president dropped out. So my one development opportunity or opportunity would be is that maybe don't say that. In a way, it makes us feel less valuable. You just got out of bed and jumped out and gave a speech. Although it speaks to your credit because it was a great speech. So the fact that you can do that and just speak makes my journey even harder though. But that was one thing I considered too. The other thing I'd say is you said everything sucks. If that's the only thing we walk out of here is the title, that's a bad day. Maybe say everything sucks, but it'll get better. Thank you.
So,
All right. Yes.
okay, we're trying to defer to each other. So we've just heard the third of the 5 evaluations. This one by Brenda Holt-Wallman. By now, the speaker has been presumably taking notes if he ever plans to give the speech again, and probably will, because it seems like he took this speech, he just almost had to make it up on the spot, or it might have been a speech that he gave in his club. But here's a chance for him to really improve it, because by now he already has 3 evaluations from very experienced Toastmasters, usually, who at this level of a contest. He's gotten 3 evaluations already.
Well, and that brings up a good point about evaluations at the club level. Now, I belong to 2 clubs, Women to Women Toastmasters, and also, okay, we're out.
One of my favorite parts about Toastmasters is that we learn not just how to speak well and present ourselves well, but also how to deal with stumbles. And this speech was a masterclass in dealing with those stumbles and those issues that might come up, those hiccups, and just rolling right along with those punches. So Jeff, huge kudos to you, because that was, I mean, it's fantastic if you can start the speech right at the very beginning and get all the way through it exactly as you practice perfectly. No hiccups whatsoever. But the fact that you started to have this speech and you said, I'm still trying to remember it from last week because this is kind of a last minute thing. And you had a few stumbles and hiccups all the way through. I think that really helps emphasize not just your mastery of this content, but also your ability as a speaker to deal with those issues. So, well done. If you were to do something like this again in the future, which I definitely think you should, there are a few things that I want to challenge you with. I'm going to order them in how I think the impact would be perceived, from least to most. So the first is, there's a little bit of meandering, and it shows that you're comfortable with using the stage. But I think that if it were just a little bit more deliberate, we're going from here to here, a little bit more deliberate, that could really help accentuate the speech. And that would pair well with the second point, which is your volume and tone were very good throughout the entire speech, but it was very consistent in a relatively small band. And if you were to emphasize those points, the first point that I'd like to tell you about is to don't get caught up in your mistakes, or to celebrate your successes and accentuate those points with deliberate movements on the stage. That would really help just notch up that speech a little bit more. And the final one, and this one's subtle, but I think it would really help this speech shine, is your facial expressions. Relatively consistent facial expressions throughout, but there were a few opportunities where a really deliberate facial expression, pull, and you just had a scrunched up face that was really emphasizing how much you were trying to pull against that chain. That would have just been the cherry on top of that anecdote. Now finally, there was one thing that I think absolutely excel beyond your ability to deal with those stumbles throughout the speech. And that was the content. This was so thoughtful of a speech, and I loved that you had a very solid intro, a nice animal anecdote, and then the actual delivery of the content was thoughtful. You had personal anecdotes to throw in there, and examples to accentuate each point, and then you rounded it out with a message to everyone. And so I hope that you give a speech like this. You should be giving this speech in the international speech competition. And you know, if maybe you have and you didn't get it, that's just a stumble. We know that you're pretty good at dealing with stumbles. So thank you very much, Madam Condit.
All right, we're back, Dan. 4 speeches, 4 perspectives so far. Would you like to tell our viewers about the round robin evaluation, which is what this contest reminds me of?
Glad to do that, Emily. So one of the 2 Toastmasters clubs of which I'm a member, the State College Toastmasters Club, we've long had this custom that if a member of the club has won a contest just within the club and is going to then go on, of course, to the area level or beyond, that member will give their speech again within the club. And we will then, in addition to the regular evaluation, either right after that or later on in the meeting, every member of the club will be asked to provide feedback. And we call that the round robin evaluation. It's something that our club has always tried to do. The late, great Charlie Wilson was once going to give his speech, rose all the way to the international level, but we'll have deferred this because we have the next evaluator now.
Thank you very much, Madam Contest Chair. And Jeff, what an exceptionally appropriate speech here at Toastmasters meeting. Talking about limitations and reservations. What a better environment. When you introduced your speech this evening, and you talked about everything sucks, I thought you were going to go up in a negative direction. But you really turned it and twisted it into a very proactive story. And I like that very much. What I saw in you was a very confident speaker. Used very good speech pacing and a lot of humor. The use of the elephant as an illustrative example of restraint, I thought was particularly effective. I really like that. When you talked about the 4 strategies for overcoming limitations, there were 2 that were in particular struck me with the board. One was the first one. Never, ever compare yourself to another individual. Something that each and every one of us have done here in Toastmasters. My coach in college, I was a cross country and track runner, and my coach in college had a plaque on his desk which said, never compare yourself to another individual. That way, you become a better part of you. And eventually, maybe, the best in the world. The 4th one, I also like very much. Seek help. What a better place than Toastmasters to talk about seeking help. I felt as though you were talking about get a mentor. And what we're doing here today, in this particular part of the contest, is talking about 2 of the most important things that our founder, Ralph Schmedley, said are important to Toastmasters. Mentoring and evaluations. He doesn't mention speeches. He talks about mentoring and evaluations. And I really like the fact that you comment on mentoring, which is what I thought you were going to do. A couple very subtle suggestions for improving your speech. When you first came out in front of the room, you had your thumbs in your pocket. I think you were trying to ground yourself here and get comfortable. Very small thing to correct. A couple times during the speech, I noticed that you were looking at the floor as if you were collecting your thoughts. It would have been more effective if you looked directly at the audience and spoke. And the third thing is pacing. Pacing back and forth in front of the room. That's the way you collect, I think, your energy and your comfort level. Once you deliver the 4 strategies, I thought it would have been more effective if you talked about one strategy here, another strategy here, another strategy there, and come back to the center of the room. That would have been very, very effective. But a very calmly delivered speech, a funny speech, good one. I look forward to your next one. Madam Contest Chair.
All right, Dan, we are back. Time has passed so quickly. The evaluation contest has completed. With our last evaluator, it was John Sinclair. And John Sinclair has been in the past a member of the district leadership at the highest level in District 13. He was previously the club growth director. But as a high district leader, he could not be eligible to participate in the contest. So this year, since he is no longer a member of the leadership, he was eligible to compete.
Yeah, so that's one point that in Toastmasters, it would be considered unfair for anybody who is an officer to be in the position of being a contestant because there might be a bias in that person's favor or even against them. It would be wrong either way, wouldn't it? So you having an office disqualifies you from participating as a contestant. But of course, when your term is over, now you're back to being eligible to compete. And by the time you've done this contesting for a while, you might say it gets to be fun, and you looking forward to getting back to it.
That's a great point. The fun in this. And I think for John, he served District 13, he served his club so well in the past that now is his time, his opportunity just to get up there and have fun. And to inspire the new members and the members who are considering whether they want to be in a contest, to show them that it's not all nerve-wracking and all that all the way up to this level, but it can be fun. It's certainly a growth opportunity, and it builds the contests I found really build clubs.
Yeah, I myself, I didn't really join Toastmasters originally out of a fear of public speaking. I just wanted to actually hone a certain skill. Storytelling, I don't want to get into that right now. It took a long time for me to involve myself in contests, but once I started to do it, I just found it was just plain fun. I've never actually won one yet, but it was fun to participate anyway. Okay. So we're going to have the interviews of the contestants.
And how long have you been a Toastmaster?
I'm with Southfield's Club number 847. I've been a Toastmaster for about a year and a half.
This is your first time competing in speech contests through this process?
Yeah, well, the prerequisite, the one
Yeah,
before.
the area, so the first contest season you're a part of. What made you interested in competing in the contest?
Trying to think of who twisted my arm. I forgot who they were. Sometimes arm twisting is good.
Okay, wonderful. Well, so as you've gone through this experience, what has been maybe your most important lesson that you've learned throughout this process?
You get to see the seriousness of Toastmasters. My group is fun, so I have fun every Tuesday, every second Tuesday, and fourth Tuesday of the month. But there's this seriousness about it. A seriousness, dedication, because we all had better things to do today, for example. But we came here. And organization and office, I just think it's wonderful. Serious and meaningful and educational.
Wonderful.
All good.
Thank you so much. What led you to join Toastmasters?
Well, I heard about it years ago when I was working, but now that I'm retired, I'm constantly trying to find things to do. My good friend Alita, I think she belongs to like 5 Toastmasters. She just kept talking about it, talking about it, talking about it. So I just came as a guest thinking, I'll just hang out here a couple Tuesdays. But it's really, so it was my friend Alita and my desire to stay active in retirement. As I always present myself.
Maybe it was Alita who twisted your arm. Well, thank you again so much, and everyone, let's give her. Okay, and our second contestant, Brenda Holt-Woman. Brenda, here's your participation certificate. Give Brenda a audience, what club do you represent and how long have you been in Toastmasters?
I represent Club 847 as Liddell, so we do enjoy the time together. And I keep saying 3 years, but I think it's now 4 years, so I'm gonna have to go back and check my dates. It's going by really fast.
So what led you to join Toastmasters?
I actually went to a meeting as a guest probably about, now it's going on 15 plus years ago. I walked in and I'm like, no, I can't do this. So I walked out. Then for work professionally, I had to stand up and speak, and I realized I was physically tripping over my words and I couldn't speak. I'm like, okay, I have to do something about this. It's not right. So I did join. It took me literally 6 months of meetings to just do the timer, to stand up and say the timer. And I didn't even stand up, I was still behind the table. But it was because of that, like I had to start my journey. I had to start it. And I wasn't ready until that point, until it's a debilitating point, but yeah.
Yeah. So on this journey, what has been the most impactful experience or thing that you've learned throughout your journey so far?
What's fun, I was telling Jack because he was there at my beginning. The fact that he saw me when I couldn't speak, I spoke really fast, my mind is going, like, I already know what I'm going to say an hour from now. And I was saying what I'm saying. Learning to slow that down. And I do, when I speak to people and helping them at work, I literally have to tell them what I tell myself that they are fast speakers. I say, talk like you're talking in slow motion. Because it feels like slow motion to me. And when you do that, it's normal pace for everybody else. So if you have anybody who's a fast talker, help them. Nobody told me that 20, 30 years ago. I was always told, you speak fast. Nobody told me how to help it. Yeah. So I do help people, so just do that so other people don't make fun of you all your life. And then you So I think learning how to control my pace and learning from others' mistakes and learning to ask for help. So, yeah, right on. Yeah, right on.
Well, it sounds like Toastmasters is a perfect platform for you to do that in a fun way.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Okay, well, thank you so much. The remaining 3 contestants will be interviewed during the International Speech Contest. We'll hold for a couple minutes until our chief judge returns. So if you want to take a couple minutes, get some beverages, you can feel free to get up and talk amongst yourselves.
Again, how? My brother, how? Honey.
Yes.
Great speech. Yes. I was taking notes. Oh, you were taking notes this time. Your face is from here. I'm like, you should kind of be. Yes, I have many titles in other companies. And so I've had to and so basically people had literally come up to me and I'm like, hi, right, I'm like, how are you doing? And I'm like, I really feel something like that. I think that would be true.
That's right, that's
so
right.
I just don't know.
Relative to the carrying of there you go. My last name's Riley, so there you go. Hey, I need a chat.
Back, Dan. What you
Well,
got?
look, yeah, wasn't that something? So we've just heard all 5 evaluations of the model speech, and we just heard the interviews of the contestants. Now, first of all, isn't it fun to just listen to these interviews? You know, when you sit and listen to a set of speakers, in this case, evaluators, right? But those are speeches, and you hear this list of things from these people. It's kind of fun to hear a little bit about their story. Typically, the contest chair will just ask some questions like, "How long have you been in Toastmasters? What do you think you've gotten out of it? Perhaps, what are your hobbies?" It can be wide ranging.
And that's a great way to help them wind down from having been in the contest. They're off duty now, so to speak, waiting. Some of them are in the next contest as well. So now this gives them a little break to refresh themselves. And for us, Stephanie Scott is going to be coming on in a few minutes to give us the in-person view of this Division A contest. The contest went so quickly. Wow.
Mhm.
5 different perspectives. And now we can talk about next week's contest. The Division C contest will take place right here for our cyberspace visitors and members and guests. 9:30 it begins right here, same time, same station. March 26th, Saturday, March 26th, Division C contest. The following week, April 2nd, will be the final division contest for this year. They will begin at 10 o'clock in the morning, right here, same time, same station, boys and girls. Tune in, bring your popcorn or whatever it is, bring, relax, your morning coffee. Join us here. But right now, we're getting ready to hear Stephanie give us the bird's eye view. Okay, the conference. Let's talk about the conference while Stephanie's waiting to come on. The spring conference, April 29th, 30th, and May 1st. This is going to be a conference like no other. So I hope that everyone will come out. It's going to be very, very interactive this year. And I know that because I'm part of the interaction. It will be at the Marriott North in Cranberry Woods Drive in Cranberry Township. Cranberries makes me think of Thanksgiving, but that's a whole other story. Anyway, we were talking about the stories from our contestants, and they're now winding down, and we're winding back up to get ready for the next contest, which will be the International Speech Contest. And Dan, where does the International Speech Contest take the contestants?
So we spoke before of the contestants having gone through a gauntlet to get to this level. In order to get to this district contest, you had to win your, or second place in some cases, your club contest. You then made it through the area contest, and then here you are at the district contest. Well, to get to, we speak of all of these as being the International Speech Contest. This process is going on all over the world. So we have now the contestants who prevail today will go on to the district contest that we spoke of, and that'll be at that conference in late April. But the ones who win there still have further to go. There are additional levels, and I wish I had looked up what they are in advance, but I think it's regional. I'll let you go through the different levels.
There are quarterfinals, then there are semifinals, then there are the finals. Then sometimes it's 35,000 contestants from all over the world, as you said. We haven't even spoken about that. It is International Speech Contest. At the district level, the evaluation contests are done. That as far as the evaluation contests go. Right. But the international speakers go all the way to that stage for the international contest. And in Nashville, that's what I thought. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Nashville, Tennessee, for the international this year. And 35,000 between the quarterfinals, the semifinals, all the way down to the final 7 or 8 contestants for the World Championship of Public Speaking. And that takes place in August.
That's right.
The speakers, those speakers have a long way to go. And now, Dan, we're going to take our break. Thank you, everyone. We'll be right back.
Welcome. Come back soon, folks.
Yep.
Your shadow walked beside me. I was believing we'd follow this through. So I'm running. You know my trouble ain't far behind me. I finally gave in. I hate that it's true. Give me some time. If all I like is run dry, what have you left to lose? I told myself what I wanted was someplace else, and the way I felt was better to hide. Instead, I found I lose my head if I leave you out. I don't wanna go on without you in my life. Give me some time. If all I like is run dry, what have you left to lose?
The doors will remain closed during the contest. If you must leave the room, please do so during the minute of silence between contestants. You may re-enter the room before the next contestant begins his or her speech or after they have finished speaking. The taking of photographs during the speech contest is not permitted. There will be a photo opportunities directly after the contest. The contestants have drawn for speaking order and have been briefed. Madam Chief Judge, have the contest officials been briefed?
Yes, ma'am. The judges, ballot counters, and timers have all been briefed.
Thank you. Let the international speech contest begin. The order of the contestants are as follows. Contestant number 1, John Sinclair. Contestant number 2, John Harshman. Contestant number 3, Donna Morosco. Contestant number 4, Scott Roman. Once again, contestant number 1, John Sinclair. Contestant number 2, John Harshman. Contestant number 3, Donna Morosco. And contestant number 4, Scott Roman. Our first contestant, John Sinclair, The Sugar Shack. The Sugar Shack, John Sinclair.
Cookies and candies and pies, oh my! Cookies and candies and pies, oh my! Some of you might think you know where I'm going with this. But my story has little to do with lions or tigers or bears or even a wizard. Oh my. Madam Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, esteemed guests. When I was a young boy, my brothers and I would bide for 1 week at Grandma's house, alone, one-on-one with Grandma, to listen to old 45 records, like Turkey in the Straw, Turkey in the Hay. Anybody remember that one? Play old card games like Go Fish, and sleep on Grandma's great big feather bed. Oh, who am I kidding? We were there for one thing and one thing only: sugar. And Grandma's house was loaded. Grandma was squirrels with all kinds of old-time candies: root beer barrels, circus peanuts, Necco wafers, Good and Plenty's, Cracker Jack, when there were real prizes in the bottom of the box. And then at nighttime, a great big bowl of ice cream, vanilla ice cream, slathered in rich, dark, chocolatey Hershey's syrup. Who needed sleep? We had the great big feather bed. The rest didn't. You see, fellow Toastmasters, Grandma was the first generation owner of the Sugar Shack. And it was our job as grandkids to make sure that she was prosperous as she could possibly be. And boy, we did our jobs. There were healthy snacks. It wasn't all bad. There were fresh picked strawberries, blackberries, raspberries, although we would then put 4 tablespoons of sugar on top with thick, sweet cream. Sugar. One day, Grandma got tapped on the shoulder for a higher calling. And now she's leading the very prosperous, heavenly Sugar Shack. Back here on Earth, Mom was a little more judicious, or observant, should I say, of the amount of candy we ate. After all, Grandma could give us back kicking and screaming. and screaming for more. But Mom, she had to live with us. Then one day, boom! Crack of thunder, a lightning bolt, a sugar bolt from the sky. And Mom became Grandma, and the second generation owner of the Sugar Shack. My mother's food pyramid consists of the 4 C's: coffee, cereal, candies, cookies, and cereal. Lots and lots of candies and cookies for her 16 grandchildren. I would have conversations with my mother about, hey, Mom, you should be a little more observant about the amount of sugar you give your grandkids. Maybe some healthy alternatives or a sugar-free snack every now and then. My sister-in-law, Tina, likes to say, sugar is free in Grandma's house. My God, why not just post a sign outside that says, abandon all hope, ye who enter? Now, I know some of you may still be thinking about those lions and tigers and bears. Maybe. Anybody? Any one person? Because if you were, you'd be right! Lion candy bars. Tiger lollipops. And Haribo gummy bears. All part of Grandma's arsenal to spoil her kids absolutely rotten. I have yet to experience the joys of being a grandparent, but I can envision the day where my own grandchild is at my feet. Gooey hands, chocolatey face, my pants getting stickier and stickier. And I can look up to the sky and smile. As a third generation owner of the Sugar Shack. Madam Contest Chair.
Now I'll ask the audience for 1 minute of silence while the judges complete.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm going for a bag of M&Ms as soon as this contest is over. John has gotten me on a sugar rush. That was such fun, that speech. Thank you, John Sinclair, for getting the International Speech Contest today off to a great start. And you know, Dan, you and I and John Sinclair have a long history of our lives and our experiences that many of the young members don't understand. But I think they got a better understanding of the candy portion of our lives. Speech. What do you think?
Yeah, well, one advantage of age is all the wealth of experience you have. Not everybody who's younger thinks that's of much worth.
We're done. We're done. I hear it.
John Harshman.
The Swahili proverb, patience attracts happiness, brings near that which is far, truly resonates with me. I always consider myself a patient person because I could sit in a room with a bunch of screaming children and read a book. However, the definition of patience is the capacity to accept delay, trouble, or suffering. As much as I would like to consider sitting in a room with a bunch of screaming children suffering, I just can't do it. My therapist over the years has also tried to enlighten me on my misconception of what patience is. He'd sit back and he asked me the question, John, how do you get patience? Obviously, you're born with it. Well, look at me. Oh, how wrong I was. My journey to enlightenment started in 2003 when my first son, Jordan, was born. Shortly thereafter, I left for the military. We would talk on the phone occasionally, nothing too extraordinary. After my 4-year term, I came back home and I started to try to develop a relationship. Unfortunately for Jordan, I was very sick at the time. I didn't know it. It wasn't even a year before I walked out of his life. I thought I was protecting him. It took me about 6 years to realize how sick I was and to actually seek help. Now on my path to recovery, I know that Jordan and I will be reconnected one day. I just don't know when or how. I take my first step towards it about a year in, and I write a letter. No response. I was discouraged, disheartened, a little angry. I didn't know what to do. I reached out to the people closest to me. They said, just be patient. Keep doing what you know is right, and the universe will provide. I wait for about another year, 2nd year recovery. I know the time is right, but this time I'm sending a package. I'm gathering pictures, I'm writing a letter. Before I could even send this letter though, I get a phone call. The universe provided. Jordan wants to meet me. I gather his stepmom, his half-brother that he doesn't know yet, and we go and we meet Jordan. The reunion is beautiful and everything is great, until it's not. A couple of months in, we have vacations lined up that make me go about a month without being able to see Jordan. I don't like that, so I reach out and ask if Jordan could sleep over. Unfortunately, his mother says no. She responds with a verbal assault of all the pain and hurt that I caused over the years. Externally, I take my blows. Internally, I declare war. This is happening on my time. I'm not waiting for anybody else. I deserve this. It's not very patient. I try to predict what his mother is going to feel and what she wants me to do and say to help lower her guard because I'm trying to make her happy. She can't control somebody else's emotions. I also ask for things that I know that she's going to tell me no whenever I think that guard lowers. And whenever she says no, I bombard her with request after request after request to shift the blame from myself to her. She's the bad guy. She won't let you come around. After about 4 years of this, I am exhausted. I don't know what to do. Our relationship isn't bad, but I've definitely pushed Jordan away. I decide I need to make a change. I think back about what happened, what worked in the past. First, I know I need to accept the situation for what it is. Accept the delay. Focus on what's right and what I really need to do. All that is to be a father to Jordan. And respect Jordan in his time. I was pitting him between myself and his mother. That's not fair. It was very hard and very stressful on him. He was 17 at the time, and so we knew that he's going to be able to start making his own decisions as well. So we started practicing patience. Our relationship, it started to grow. It started to develop. We continue this path of patience and respect and tolerance over the next couple of years. We're turning into 2021, getting close to December, and in those 2 years, our relationship has grown exponentially compared to what it was in the first 4 years. Christmas Day comes and we shoot Jordan a text message. We're going to be home all day if you have a little time available. He responds. And for the first time since we've reconnected, we're going to be able to see him on a holiday. We are ecstatic. Our effort has paid off. During this time, around Christmas, he even trusts and is comfortable enough to now share with me things that bother him, such as his current living situation. He doesn't feel respected. He doesn't want to be home. He tries to be away all the time. And like a lion on a sick gazelle, I'm ready to pounce. And I look back within myself and I say, whoa, 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 what got me here? I gently remind Jordan that this is our house. He's a part of that. He doesn't need permission to come and go. It doesn't matter if we're here at home or not. And you know what else? We have an extra bed. Please feel free to come and spend the night. The wheels start turning. been about 3 months since we had that conversation with Jordan. As of March 1st, Jordan has fully moved in with us. What once was 4, now is sleeping in the bedroom below me. That's pretty near. I bring this good news back to my therapist, and he asked me, John, what did you learn? I don't know, you're the therapist, you tell me. He sits back, crosses his hand over his stomach. Well, let me rephrase the question. John, how do you get patience? You wait for it. Mounting contest chair.
So, Emily, that's speech number 2. Notice, by the way, a little lower volume than the previous speaker. There's lots of things about public speaking, especially in a context where you're before a larger audience. And that's something you work on. You have to have an awareness of being able to speak at such a volume that you can be heard. And that might mean a little lower if you're in a small, intimate setting, but louder if you are in a larger place, and especially you have to be carried by a microphone.
Well, and we're in the last 2 years used to being in a very small space, our living room, our kitchen. So being out in this space is quite a different experience, and it takes a little time for our speakers to get used to that again. How does speakers...
Certainly took me a little while, but now we have our next speaker coming up in just a moment. It'll be speaker number 3.
The story of a protege and her mentor. The transformation, the story of a protege and her mentor. Donna Marosco.
Thank you, Madam Chair, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I'd like you all to get comfortable, relax, take it easy. For the next several minutes, I'm going to share a story with you. It's story time. The transformation, the story of a protege and her mentor. Once upon a time, there was a young lady. She was intelligent. She graduated from college. She was unsure, however, of what her next path would be. She really didn't know what she wanted to do next. She thought of possibly teaching. There weren't a lot of jobs at the time. But what she truly wanted to do was to be self-employed, to own her own business. But what? What kind of a business? She really had no idea. For 4 years following college, she involved herself in retail management. First at a health food store, next at a larger educational toy store and computer store. She learned things in the retail experience. She learned how to work very long retail hours. She learned how to deal with customers who were sometimes cranky, and she learned how to manage employees. But this experience only fed her desire even more. She didn't want to manage someone else's business. She wanted to own the business. She wanted it to be hers. The young lady spoke with an older, wiser man that she knew. This was a man who she respected very much. She asked for his opinion and advice. He told her that she might want to consider the field of insurance. Huh? Insurance? No, I can't be a pushy insurance man. I don't think so. What's even insurance about, you know? A promise on a piece of paper, some nebulous idea about car accidents, death, and fires? No, thank you. I don't think that's me. I can't do it. The wise man told her that she might want to consider this, that she already had some of the qualities that could make her successful. She cared deeply about people. She was not afraid of hard work, and he saw her as ethical and having a lot of integrity. He said, the product can be learned. You can learn how to do this. The young lady wondered, could she do this? She thought back when she was a child, and she was in this wise man's office. He had a big desk. He had a chair that she liked to spin on with wheels. Up on the wall, she saw bronze plaques with his name on them. Also on his walls, original one-of-a-kind artwork. They were done in crayon and watercolors, and they were done by his own children. She remembered working in his office for a summer when she was a teenager. She heard him on the phone talking to people. He was not pushy. He was kind. He was gentle. She saw people come in and talk to him in his office. They seemed to respect him. He gave them advice. He helped them. She wondered, could she do this? Was it possible? At the age of 26, the young lady decided to take a risk. And the largest insurance company in the United States took a chance on her as well, as they allowed her to become an independent contractor for them and to own and operate an office for them, selling and servicing their products. Wow, this was scary for her. This was a very male-dominated industry at the time, and she would be in the minority. The year was 1985. The young lady looked to the older, wiser man. She consulted with him, asked for his advice often. He became her mentor, and she became his protege. The next 3 years were rough for the young protege. It was hard work. She would call the mentor oftentimes crying, saying, I don't know if I can do this. I'm making no money. I'm working long hours. I'm facing rejection from people every day. I don't think I can do this. The mentor was kind to her. He would take her to lunch. They would sit, she would talk, she would cry. He would dip his French fries into ketchup. Her French fries were doused in her own tears. So the mentor said to her, this didn't come to stay, it came to pass. It didn't come to stay, it came to pass. For the next couple of years, this became her mantra. Every day driving to work, it didn't come to stay, it came to pass. Maybe I can get through this storm. Maybe it's not going to last forever. Maybe there's a rainbow beyond this storm that I'm in. The mentor helped the protege. He believed in her. He was present in her journey, and he knew that she would one day succeed. A transformation did occur. The young protege did succeed in her business, and she was happy. And now, after 36 years, she prepares for retirement, and she has become a mentor herself as she passes her business on to a new owner. She is ever grateful to her wonderful, amazing mentor. You may have surmised that the protege in my story is me, Donna Wise Marasco, and my wonderful, amazing, caring, loving mentor, not only in my business, but my entire life, my hero, my dad, Walter Wise. The end.
Thank you for that speech, Donna. All right, Dan, we've heard 3 accomplished speakers at the division level. The division level, how'd they get there, Dan?
Well, for almost anybody at this level, it doesn't come quickly. It starts when you join a club, and it takes a while to just get accustomed to the way clubs operate. Like any organization, we have our protocols and practice that. But eventually you get enough experience and you get the bug that I'm going to enter a contest. Next thing that happens, it takes a while just to learn to get good at that. But eventually you get to the point where you can stand up and give, especially the kind of speeches that tend to do well in the international contest tend to be personal. So you are typically going to share some aspect of yourself more than you usually would. And pretty soon, we're going to segue again into our next speaker.
Our next contestant, Scott Roman. Believe me, Scott Roman.
George Washington did not have a set of wooden teeth. He had a set of dentures that was made of bone, ivory, gold, lead, and animal teeth. A real menagerie of the mouth. But he had more than one set of dentures. He had another set of dentures made of the teeth pulled from the mouths of slaves. Crime in the U.S. increased until the 90s, where it peaked, and it's been going down pretty much ever since, except for the last 2 years. And there's a lot of theories as to why that is. And one theory is something that we did in the 70s. And that was removing lead from the gas in the environment. The theory goes that lead affects the development of children, and children with underdeveloped brains are more likely to commit crimes. But there's a similarly well-founded theory, just as supported by the evidence, that has something else to do with what we did in the 70s. That's legalizing abortion. The theory goes that children who are wanted grow up to commit less crimes. All right, how did that feel?
Heavy.
No, a bit heavy, right? The first fact, that was nice, that was neat. You take that, put it in your back pocket, take it out at a dinner party, share it with friends. Fun, right? But the second fact, depending on your persuasion, it could be a bit tougher. Maybe your heart rate elevated, maybe your pupils dilated, you sweat a little bit. And this has something to do with what's called the backfire effect, where when we have something that confronts a core belief, we respond to it in the same way that we do with a physical threat. Our heart rate elevates. Our pupils dilate. We sweat a little bit. And in our minds, we build up a cage around this core belief that bats out anything that confronts it. We hold on to that core belief even tighter. Now, I love the exchange of ideas. And I believe that sharing ideas is what allows us to connect with each other, and to grow, and to empathize, and which makes us better people overall. And at the risk of overgeneralization, I think that's getting a little tougher right now. We're spending more time talking past each other and less time in an environment where we can accept or experience more challenging ideas. Now I realize that I am talking to the exact wrong crowd of people. You guys have chosen to come out here on a Saturday morning and listen. We talk hopefully less than 7 minutes and 30 seconds about whatever I want to talk about, whatever anyone wants to talk about. But even if you were the right group of people, what could I say to make you more open-minded? I don't know. I don't think there's anything that I could say that can make someone else more open-minded. So instead, I'll try to practice change within. So I want to share with you 3 strategies that I try to use, at least in my best self, to help foster better conversations. And the first is the steel man argument. And it goes directly against the straw man fallacy. The steel man argument is where you have to build up the strongest version of your opponent's argument in order to show that your argument is superior. I mean, let's say that Julia is a bigoted person. She's a sexist person. She wants women to run the entire world. Now, that's a fairly extreme idea, but if I approach it not with dismissing this idea, but accepting it and trying to build up and understand why she has this argument, there's an opportunity for fairness. Men have been in positions of power for most of humanity, so it would only be fair. Women tend to be more understanding, empathetic, and choosing to empathize rather than to dismiss. I'm understanding and I'm building a bridge rather than dividing us. And you might find that maybe it is time to change your beliefs. Maybe the other side does have the stronger argument. I don't think you have the stronger argument in this case quite yet, but we can discuss that later. The second is a simple question that you need to ask yourself whenever you feel a core belief being attacked. And that's, wanna bet? Wanna bet? How much would I bet that I'm right? If my wife Eliza were to yell at me and say, Scott, your running is gonna cripple you by the time you're 50, and I love running. My lizard brain might respond with, oh yeah, well you're dumb. I'm not responding rationally, but if I ask myself, wanna bet? I am engaging the logical part of my brain. I'm building a tunnel under those defenses that have been put up. I can start to reason with myself. How much would I bet? I know a lot of people who are in their 60s who have run a long time, need new knees. But I bet all of my retirement savings on that? I don't know. And the third thing that you need to keep in mind is that change takes time. No one updates their core beliefs in one discussion, let alone one day or 1 week. It takes months, years even, to update those beliefs. So if you get discouraged by a conversation, remember, change takes time. And so hopefully with these three things, the steel man argument, asking yourself, want to bet? And recognizing that change takes time. Me and us, we can help foster better conversations. I'll leave you with one final pair of facts. Betty White, I bet you didn't know that she studied to be an opera singer in her early career. But there's nothing that I can say that can tarnish the reputation of Betty White. May she rest in peace. Madam Contest Chair.
So that's the last of our four speakers, Emily.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I noticed a bit of a difference in age. Our last speaker, Scott Roman, you would say on the young side.
Mm-hmm.
But we started with John Sinclair, who you might say is part of our coterie of seasoned citizens.
Yes. Well, the boomers have spoken and the millennials have spoken.
Yeah.
And in between, we have had 4 excellent international speeches. And to talk about how they got there they didn't start as you started. They didn't start from nowhere. They started at the club level and then continue.
Yeah. So as I said, at the club level, you had to enter and win the contest at that level, right? And typically in a club, you join the club and your first contact with the contests, they say, oh, we got a contest come up. A new member is going to say, not me. But that new member will be recruited to be, a vote counter, a judge, have some other role in the administration of the contest. And eventually, for most of the members, sooner or later, if you're in it long enough, you decide to throw your hat in and be a contestant. That, of course, saves you from being assigned any of these other duties.
Yeah. At which point, this would probably be a good time. We've thanked all of our speakers, I believe. And if we haven't, we've just done it now. Thank you to all of our speakers today. in the International Speech Contest and the Evaluation Contest. And now we have a moment to thank the people that were responsible for getting these speakers today from the club level to the area level to the division level. And those are from Division A directors, Area 1, Katie Wooten, Area 2, DTM Cheryl O'Connell, DTM Area 3, Barbara Pinilla, and 4, Aisha Kennedy. Thank you so much for your service in making sure that these speakers were well prepared and here with us today to share their many perspectives. What about those perspectives, Dan? What do you think?
Well, the speakers, it was interesting. The speakers have their different approach to, you might say, it always seems to, by the time you get to this level, it's about life. And as I was saying before, having to do with, typically there has to be some personal sharing for your speech to make it very far at the international level. Remember Donna, she had the storytelling approach. And interestingly enough, that was why I first joined Toastmasters. I wanted to learn to be a better storyteller because at the time I was the Cub Master of my son's Scout pack. And in my experience, the best Scout leaders were those who were good storytellers. But anyway, that's one approach. We have this approach that we heard. Oh, we're going to now go to the interviews of the contestants.
So we'll begin with John. Participating, we have a certificate for both the evaluation and the international speech contest. So here you go. Thank you so much. Let's give John a for the benefit of the audience, please tell us how long you've been a Toastmaster and what club you're representing here today.
I've been a Toastmaster since 2004, back when I joined the New York City Metropolitan Club. And I've been a Toastmaster of many different clubs throughout the area and the world, really. I am now a member of the Moon Club. I was a member of an English-speaking club when I lived in Hong Kong and worked there. But 2004 is when I joined Toastmasters.
Fantastic. What would you say is the most impactful lesson that you've learned from being a Toastmaster?
How to be a mentor. I think I'll go back to what our founder, Ralph Schmedley, said, and Fred Warnbrock is up there smiling. Because he said, Ralph and Fred say the same things. The two most important things of Toastmasters is mentoring and evaluations. And mentoring somebody in Toastmasters, I think, is the most warming and best experience that you can have.
Great, I agree. On your profile, you had shared several quotes, but I'd ask you to speak to the following and tell us what this quote really means to you. The innocence of children coloring outside the lines and not caring less.
Yep. So when we're children, we color in our coloring books, and we color outside the lines, and we don't care. We sing, and we don't care how we sound. We live a great life. But as we get older, the rules start being placed upon us, and our world starts getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So I would advise everyone, my recommendation is to be like a child and be creative. You're not going to find creativity in that small pigeonholed area that we now live in. You know, be a child. Color outside the lines. Be creative. Sing as if no one can hear you.
You don't want to hear me sing.
You don't want to hear me sing.
Well, thank you so much for competing today, John. And let's give John a round of applause. Now I'll introduce our second contestant, John Harshman. Okay, so for the benefit of the audience, what club are you representing today and how long have you been a Toastmaster?
I'm a member of the Bettis Toastmaster Club, and I've been a member since 2017, 5 years, February, just over 5 years.
Great. Now, this is not the first time you've competed. You competed last year, I believe.
That's
Was
right.
that your first time competing, or have you done this when we were in person before?
First time I competed was 2 years ago, during COVID. So we got through the area and then everything got canceled.
Okay.
It was very unfortunate. It was exciting and a lot of fun, and then last year all virtual. So
Yeah.
it's, I guess, 2.5 times maybe.
Well, great to make it this far. What do you think is the most valuable, impactful lesson that you've learned through your Toastmasters journey?
How to speak effectively. Really, I mean, that's what Toastmasters is about. And whether it's telling somebody how you feel, that's something I really struggle with. Or telling somebody, maybe this could be a little bit better in an evaluation. It's really important to do in your personal life, in your work life. I mean, I use it with my 7-year-old in hockey. I'm able to tell him, hey, you had a great game. Maybe we can go downstairs and stick handle a little bit. That would maybe help your game a little bit more. It could be a challenge for you. And so being able to express yourself in a manner that's not going to really offend somebody, I guess, challenge is the most important lesson that I've learned so far.
So true, especially when you're trying to help your children learn and grow and be effective communicators and sharing their feelings. So it's great that you can do that with your family. In your profile, you shared the quote, it's not how far you fail, it's how high you bounce. Can you speak to what that means to you and why that's important to you?
Yes. Everybody's life is a very, very long journey. And there's going to be so many times that you're challenged or you don't succeed and you fall down. And it's not about that fall that you had. It's about how high you bounce back up. Did you learn from that, and did you get up and make yourself better from that experience? And that's why that really resonates with me, that I've had a lot of falls, but I think that I've been able to dust myself off every time. So
Great, and being able to compete in a contest like this, it's just gaining that more experience every time you just get better. So thank you so much. Our next contestant is Donna Morosky.
Thank you.
Okay, so for the benefit of the audience, what club are you representing today?
I'm part of the South Hills 847 Club.
And how long have you been a Toastmaster?
It's going on 3 years, about 2.5 years, I think.
And is this the first time you've competed?
Yes, first time.
Amazing, you did a great job.
Thank
you. Thank you for stepping up. It takes a lot of courage to get up here.
It's scary.
Throughout your Toastmasters journey over the last 3 years, what is the most impactful thing that you've learned to share with us today?
I'm just very impressed by people and the group, the Toastmaster group. I think it's just a really quality group. I think Linnell said, there's a lot of formality to it, and the Pledge of Allegiance, and the rules and the structures. But the people, I just find the people in my club, and I'm guessing in the clubs, just really quality people and very diverse. So we learn from each other, but also very encouraging. It's scary to look out at all your faces, it's frightening, and that's, my thing that I need to overcome. But Brenda and I were talking, that you look out at your faces and everybody's kind of smiling back and nodding at you. They're not going it's nice, it's supportive, and it feels good. People, I think, want to build each other. The mentoring, I think, is fantastic. I want to do that more, to be a mentor. I think that would be so. I'd like to involve myself more with that. I'm always impressed by the people.
Great, yeah, it's our mission, right? Positive and supportive. So thank you so much. One more thing. So you actually referenced this during your speech, but can you talk a little bit about the quote that you shared? It didn't come to stay, it came to pass.
Yeah, it is a quote that my dad would say to us kids. That's beautiful. And a lot of ups and downs, and in our life, right? But I could just hear him. He was just so wise with those words. It didn't come to stay, it came to pass. Yes. It another day. You know, it can change. It gave you hope, and hope is very important.
Yeah, persevere through all of it.
Correct.
So thank you so much. And our fourth contestant, Scott Lynn. Okay. For the benefit of the group, what club are you representing and how long have you been a Toastmasters?
Been a Toastmasters for a little over 5 years, since 2016.
Okay, great. So is this the first time you're competing or through the contest, or had you competed before?
I've competed in a few different contests before, but this is the highest I've made it in international.
Awesome. Well, thank you for participating. We can't have contests without contestants, so that's really amazing to step up.
Oh, I didn't plan on it. Nate kept on saying I should do it, and fine.
Well, throughout your Toastmasters journey, what's the most impactful thing that you've learned?
It gets everything that everyone else has said is definitely true, but part of my evaluation of Jeff, dealing with the stumbles, I think that's a huge benefit of Toastmasters, because so many times things don't go right. Someone doesn't show up, we forget a line, maybe the room isn't set up correctly, and we have to ad-lib or figure out how to do something while still doing something professionally and with conviction and the way that we can be proud of. And we have to do that pretty much every single meeting, and getting to practice that. I use that everywhere in life, and it's really cool to see other Toastmasters use it too.
Yeah, it's really important because you never know what kind of curveballs are going to throw your way, especially over the last 2 years. With the pandemic and everything, like just turned us all upside down. So it's really important to be able to pivot. In your profile, you shared this quote. If you could tell us a little bit about it. Don't yuck other people's yums.
Yeah, don't yuck other people's yums, which means that if other people like something, you shouldn't put it down.
All right, yeah.
I don't always do the best of this.
Don't yuck other people's yums. All right.
But I try to remember it so I can be a better person.
Well, very good. Well, thank you so much for competing today. A couple minutes before we do awards, I just need to get a couple things situated so we can take maybe a 5. Take 5? Yeah.
I gotta take a high break. Go. Don't break it.
Okay,
All right.
Emily, so we have just heard the contestant interviews. Notice that it was a longer list than last time because anyone who was a contestant in both the evaluation contest and the speech contest would only be interviewed in this group. So we had a group of 4 interviews, and as before, you like to hear a little bit about the backstory of the speakers. And now we have more time going on. What's happening now? Of course, there is the judging process. So what happens is at a contest, there's a chief judge and a number of judges that listen to the speeches and fill out a form with different categories of evaluation, things like how persuasive the speech, and different categories like that. They will rate them, and in the end, they will on each ballot. And this is written down. Each ballot gets that judge's opinion of the first, second, and third place. So it takes a little while for the vote counters now to process all that information. And so you fill that time, of course, with these contestant interviews. And if there isn't enough time, if there's still more time required after that, then it's kind of a break. And we just heard from the contest chair, it's a 5-minute break. So there's probably about 3.5 minutes left for this necessary judging process. But our contestants at home at least get the opportunity to listen to you and I gab about what's going on a little bit.
Well, And we've been around Toastmasters for a while, and we have participated as functionaries and chiefs and the head honcho at these contests. And we know how much work it takes to put on this production each year. It's part of what we love to do as Toastmasters, to support the contestants, to give them a really positive experience of all the work they've done at each level to come to this. And now we're at, as you say, the judges are finalizing their votes, then the ballots get counted, certificate of awards need to be prepared, and then the announcements of the winners and the giving of the certificates and the trophies. It's the most exciting part of the contest. But as we've spoken during our time with our online viewers, that it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort, and it starts at the club level. And then, Dan, we've got a couple of minutes to finish up our discussion on how they make it up to the division level and how coaching and mentoring comes in to the whole
Yes,
mix.
coaching and mentoring is very important in Toastmasters. I will say when I joined Toastmasters long ago, over 30 years ago, it wasn't as formalized as today. But if someone joins a Toastmasters club, they're strongly encouraged to be hooked up with a mentor. A mentor would be a member who's been in the club long enough to have experience with Toastmasters and how it works, to help this new member get acclimated to how it works. And we call that the protege. And actually, we may remember Donna's speech. It was the storytelling approach about the idea of relationship between a protege and a mentor. That becomes a important relation. Now, in my time, I didn't have a formal mentor, but in fact, a very highly regarded Toastmaster, Charlie Wilson, now deceased, was we would have now called him my mentor, because I actually worked for him in my employment. And he jokingly said, if I wanted to keep my job, I was going to have to join Toastmasters. We told that all the time, although it wasn't really true. There's Charlie Wilson. Oh man, thank you, Steve. So that's my former boss and truly my Toastmasters mentor, Charlie Wilson. And it's just really special to be able to look back to say that he was really my mentor, even though not in any prescribed way. Did you have a similar experience? Did you have a formal mentor, or when you joined Toastmasters, was it just like an effective mentor?
Interestingly enough, when I joined Women to Women Toastmasters, I was assigned a mentor at the beginning, but she became ill and there wasn't anybody else to take her position at the time. Women to Women was a new club itself, and there wasn't anybody available to mentor me. But as a professional storyteller, I picked things up as I went along, and I got the support of the other members of the club. Anybody who I asked a question to was more than happy to spend the time getting me the answers and keeping me on track of becoming a Toastmaster. And that experience of not having one mentor, but having the whole club as my mentors, they've become my dearest friends, my inspirations, and they were the ones who recognized that I had leadership qualities. This is something that a mentor does. They recognize what you yourself can't see. They're a mirror, they're a reflection, and they see what the member can't see. And because of that, I've developed mentoring skills and coaching skills, and they are what I bring best to Toastmasters now. And it's a very satisfying way to be in my senior years and being able to mentor the new members who come in. In both of my clubs, there's a lot of new young members who come in and fresh out of college, still working on their academic things, starting new jobs, starting families. And I get to mentor and coach these young members. And it's really from the heart. And that's the heart and soul, I believe, of Toastmasters altogether. That's been my experience, Dan. Thank you for letting me share that with everybody.
Yes, in fact, the role of a mentor is sometimes, of course, a mentor is always encouraging. Sometimes you almost might say arm twisting to try to get you to get over a hump that your mentor, you'd be good if you did this. Perhaps take an officer position in the club, perhaps enter a contest, and you may have this reluctance. I don't know if I really am good enough to do that. And the mentor either encourages, or as I say, a little bit of arm twisting, a little bit of artful pushing to go ahead and give it a try. Did that ever happen to you?
Well, all I can say is I've always been a solo act. When I joined Toastmasters, little did I know that those days were coming to an end, because the presidents of the club at that time in a 2-year period were Isabel Billig and Sonia McCoy, who were both, and now we're all in the district level of division directors. Isabel and I are Sonia's assistant division directors now. And we believe in training our people from the start of our year-long administration as a anyway, we're back. I'm done. Thank you all. Great experience. We're not back.
It doesn't look like
right,
the contest chairs took the stage
anyway,
yet.
I'm starting to stumble around, so I'm going to give it to you. But I never saw leadership qualities in me, but they did, and they've developed them. And I'm really glad I listened to their suggestions. I followed their leads. Here I am today.
Bob Johnson and our program quality director, distinguished Toastmaster Stephanie Scott, to assist me with the
I feel like we're full on.
Well, you guys can have like matching.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do a little bit.
And then we will.
You hand over the big hardware.
You get the hardware. Okay. See how I can delegate? Okay. Can I have a drum roll, please? Don't wait for the hardware. For the evaluations contest, I'm happy to confirm that there were no disqualifications. In third place, John Harshman.
Pictures. Yeah, we'll take a photo. I don't know how it's gonna work. Okay.
Get one like maybe just with John or.
We'll do a
full
photo shoot.
No, stay up here, John.
Yeah, stay up here.
You gotta hang out for a minute.
Okay, in second place, Scott Roman. Order.
Yeah, those.
Yeah.
What's the next?
Yeah.
Nope,
Just kidding, this is
because this is, right, evaluation?
Yeah.
Look, you got the wrong page.
No, but, hold on, time out. Time to keep 13
Well, we could have had Steve Harvey doing this. So. I can guarantee you this isn't as bad as that. We train all our lives as Toastmasters
for this. Okay, listen. So since y'all have nothing, we can talk about, Jeff got us on that really, really great start of understanding that you cannot do things alone. Although we think we can, we cannot. Spring conference is coming, my friends. And moi, or me, depending on which language you're going to speak at the time. I'm doing a lot of Duolingo right now, so it's very interesting. I can't do it alone. I am asking at this moment, not only to come to conference, but if you're willing to help, I'm willing to take you. There are plenty of things to do, and it's our first time being together in person. This is awesome, people. Are we not excited?
What's the website address to register?
Well, you know what? Instead of me saying that, I'm going to let our webmaster take it from here. Stand up, Mr. Webmaster, and tell them how to register for Spring Conference.
So it's springconference.d13tm.com. springconference.d13tm.com. I'm sure you will get an email in the next day or two.
You will. It's very true.
What is the date? It's
right here at the bottom.
I
had finished reading it.
Yes.
So an entire weekend.
And if that sound is very difficult to get to, you can just go to d13tm.com and hit Spring Conference, and it'll take you to the website.
Let me borrow that for a second.
Okay, Bob, what do you want to talk about?
Conference.
Yeah. Oh, Friday. Me talking.
Friday night. I know that's something else.
See what happens. See how
Friday night, the excitement. We were just talking about it.
Yeah.
Over in the corner.
Yes. So Friday night is the evaluation contest, so you'll all be there to cheer on the contestants for the evaluation contest. But also, we have the pleasure of having a comedy improv night, led by the Amish Monkeys. They are an improv group. We plan to have tons of fun, so that will be enjoyment to be had by all.
I highly recommend attending that.
The conference is hybrid, so we are going to have hybrid audience as well as in-person audience. So there are people who will be watching it from the comforts of their home, which is something that before the pandemic, none of us ever thought could be possible. The doors of possibility have opened tremendously.
Then full day conference Saturday.
Full day conference Saturday. Well, that hasn't changed at all. That's for sure.
Training, awards, food.
Parade of banners. You've got banner pride. Bring the banner out. March that puppy down the center so everybody can know who you are, what club you're a member of, and of course, if you have wonderful ribbons hanging from that, all get to see. It's always fun.
And then Sunday.
He's walking me through this. It's hilarious. Sunday is Train the Trainer. If you've never had Train the Trainer, if there are some of you who want to give sessions or teach sessions at our upcoming TLI in June, Train the Trainer is the perfect event to attend. From speaker to trainer, trainer. It's been called both. So fun, excitement. Come out. Fred's giving a workshop. Got to see what Fred's going to bring for us. He's bringing some exciting things. So there's a reason to come. Absolutely.
And I love our theme is
Face to face, facing the future together.
clapping in. Good job. We could do some improv, Nate. What do you think? What should I?
Oh, no.
Anyone want to do a table topic while we wait?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, first table topic is Aisha.
Oh, no. Okay, let's see. Do I come up?
Yeah, do it.
All right.
I know.
Okay, so table topics. Okay, first question. What did you guys do last night? Disclose. Share. Go.
Oh,
I
yeah.
attended the Just Speaking.
The new startup comedy club, Toastmasters. It's an advanced club. You have to belong to another club and you have to have completed level 1 and level 2, I believe, of a pathway. We're still meeting first and third Friday nights. What a hoot, what a hoot. No matter what you feel like before you go in, you'll feel good when you leave.
I will say it's amazing. It's like a mini Amish monkeys. It's so much fun.
I don't know who the Amish monkey is.
Well, when you come Friday night, as a Just Speaking member, you should see them. It's fun. I just run it. So for the Just Speaking, because I get the emails and things like that, have anyone in the club gone through the new humorous pathway? Do you know anyone that's gone through the new humorous pathway?
The new one? Well, it's not the new one. I'm on level 4.
I was just thinking about it. I was just kind of curious what you.
You'll like it. What pathway are you in?
I'm in effective coaching right now.
Oh, effective coaching. I haven't done that.
Okay. I was just thinking, because I don't really say I'm a comedian, but I want to get better at the.
In my other club, I started doing the engaging humor path. They were all
That's the one I meant.
presentation
Yeah.
mastery and all of those other ones that I started. Now everybody's started.
Right.
And that is their second path.
I have to ask something, is it going to be a funny thing happen on the way to Toastmasters?
Just keep the conversation. Yeah, that's good conversation going. There's, I think Joe Arnold maybe.
Hey, Dan, we're back. There's apparently some kind of a technical difficulty of some kind going on. And John and Dan, we heard that they're live, they're doing some table topics. So will you tell everybody in our viewing audience out in cyberspace about table topics?
Well, of course, table topics is something that we do at every meeting. You know, you can well imagine that if you join Toastmasters, you would be called upon to give speeches from time to time. But at every meeting, that meeting will have a theme. And one of the roles is table topics master. The table topics master takes the lectern and proceeds to call upon various of the members to answer a question or respond to some prescribed situation having to do with the theme, but they didn't know that this question was coming. It gives us practice in impromptu speaking. So right now, while the judging process percolates until it gets to its conclusion, the district program quality director, Stephanie Scott, is holding a table topic session there at this contest. And the members there, the Toastmasters, all know what it is. It might be fun to just come back and listen to this proceed. Each table topic is supposed to be, the answer is 1 to 2 minutes. And you didn't know this was coming, but here it is. The Toastmasters are supposed to, they get practice dealing with this. This is important in your professional life if you think about it. What if you're at a meeting in your professional life and you're called upon when you didn't expect to be? You have to say something, don't you?
And the greatest thing about table topics is we get to practice them every week. And as we practice them, as with every other practice, the more we practice, the more confidence we gain in knowing that if that situation comes up, when we're asked something out of the blue where we're not expecting it, we've got the answer. And all we have to do is listen to the question. So we're not doing table topics.
Yeah.
I just heard that.
Well,
So
should we
right.
go on? But we might go on a little bit about table. I understand they're doing something else now, but one of the fun things too about table topics is
we don't know
you
what
learn
that
that you don't have to actually answer the question straight. If you think about that too in your professional life, what if you're called upon to answer a question, and to answer that question, you would have to reveal, shall we say, a trade secret of your company. You're not going to do that. You find a way to answer the question in a different way. Perhaps you segue into answering the question you want to answer instead of the question that you were asked, and you try to learn to do that artfully. If you think about our politicians, that's actually what they normally do, isn't it?
It is, and you said an important thing, that it is impromptu, and you can talk about something else that's related or unrelated to one of the words, a small part of the table topic that you picked out that was chosen for you. All right. I think we're going back now, but the important thing with table topics is you're prepared for the unexpected.
Yeah, absolutely.
Back to the show.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're going to represent third place.
Are we representing third place?
We should, because
Okay. All right.
it is, our third place winner for evaluation is John.
Rewinding. All right. Oh, we got a picture. I forgot about that.
Okay. Second place, evaluation contest, Scott Roman.
I think Boston Kutcher somewhere. We're getting pumped.
Okay, thank you. And our first place winner, John Sinclair.
There you are, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, in order, guys, right here. We got to get in here and
3, 2, 1.
give it a good shot. There we go.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, we should go.
There we go. Hardware shows. That's it. All about hardware, people. Hardware. Yes.
It was
Just
the certificates.
certificates were-
It wasn't the presentation of the name.
Yes.
Okay. And now for the winners of the International Speech Contest. In third place, drum roll please, John Harshman.
You go, sir.
Certificate.
All right.
Picture.
Oh yeah, you get him now.
There we go.
Second place winner, drum roll please. John Sinclair.
You go, sir. All right. Okay, in order, guys, right here. We got to get in here and give it a good shot. There we go. All right. Yeah, we should go. There we go. Hardware, people. Hardware. Yes. Okay. And now for the winners of the International Speech Contest. In third place, drum roll please, John Sinclair.
John Sinclair. All right, here it is. First place winner of the 2021-2022 Division A International Speech Contest, Donna Marasco.
I didn't want to let it go,
Scooch on down. There we go. Yes,
Oh, you already spoken. So just for our first and second place contestants for both contests will represent the division at the District 13 International Speech Contest. On Saturday, the evaluation contest is Friday evening on April 29th. And the International Speech Contest will be held on April 30th, and that's a Saturday as well, at the Marriott in Pittsburgh, North Cranberry Township. So let's give the contestants another round. I'd now like to take a minute to recognize the current and past district officers with us today. Our current District Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Bob Johnson. Our Program Quality Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Stephanie Scott. My fabulous Area Directors, Area 3 Director, Barbara Panilla. Our Area 4 Director, Aisha Kennedy. We also have our Area 13 Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Tina Kramer. Over here on my right, Distinguished Toastmaster Fred Fornbrock is our Club Retention Chair. Our test speaker today, Jeff Kennedy, as well as our District 13 Webmaster. And I'd also like to recognize Linda Young, Distinguished Toastmaster Linda Young, District 13 Chief Judge.
And also assistant
Webmaster. Yes, that is true. You are. Okay. You have no further notice? Okay. Thank you to our contest chair, and
We're gonna let her finish, and then we'll
okay. Well, it does say that's from you, so that's your part. Okay. So I already mentioned that the contest will be the spring conference will be happening on Friday, April 29th. May already have plugged this in our short intermission. Okay. And our theme is, does anyone remember what the theme is? Facing the future. See, you guys did a good job. We can just keep it
together, isn't it?
Yes.
All the above.
Okay. Well then, we hope to see you there. Registration is out on the website. Yes, Webmaster. Okay, perfect. So hope to see you all there and cheer our contestants on as they move forward to the district level. Okay, yes. I'd like to say thank you to our Chief Judge, Distinguished Toastmaster Kathy Kuznicki. And to all those who volunteered today additionally. So our Sergeant at Arms, Distinguished Toastmaster Josh Dilley. Our timers, Distinguished Toastmaster Nate Stevens and Chad Riley. Our battle counters, Christina Hooten and Sarah Washadishe. I'm so sorry. And to those judges who must remain anonymous, we can't thank you enough for stepping in today to volunteer. And a special thank you to all of our contestants. Again, we can't have contests without contestants. And it's a huge, it is a huge just accomplishment for you to have the courage to get up here and make it to this far. So congratulations to all of you for competing. We really appreciate your participation.
Yes, and let's give a huge thank you, round of applause to Julia. She's not. Such an amazing event. To be back in person and have these contests is a lot of hard work. So thank you to everyone who pitched in. Thank you to our contestants for participating. It's wonderful to finally see people in person again. But Julia, not only here in Division A, but she's been working behind the scenes, helping in Division B, helping with the other division directors. So let's give her another round of applause.
That smile was because she is done! Yes! Amazing.
So congratulations,
yes,
great contest.
Thank you for coming out, everybody. Appreciate it.
And remember, dues are due. Spread the word about the conference. Let's get everyone that we can in person, have one heck of a District 13 showing, and enjoy the finals on Friday night for the evaluation, and then Saturday, the International Speech Contest. Thanks again.
So you guys can send me your pictures.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Dan.
Okay. All right, Emily. So that concludes our Division A contest. And we have some more events coming up that the viewing public might wish to take an interest in. Isn't that true?
We're still finishing up our division contest, Dan. That's absolutely right. And next Saturday, March 26th at 10 a.m. is the Division C contest right here in cyberspace for our audience here, our virtual audience here today. And Division D contest is 10 a.m. right here on April 2nd. And for live and virtual, we'll be having our spring conference once again, as if you haven't heard it enough times today already. The spring conference for District 13 will take place April 29th, 30th, and May 1st at the Marriott North in Cranberry Township. The evaluation contest will be Friday night, April 29th. This will be all the division winners from District 13. And the International Speech Contest will take place Saturday, April 30th in the afternoon. We'll see you all there. It's going to be a great conference, an interactive conference, and a great celebration of district. There's too many D's in all of this. Of District 13. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. Back to you, Dan, for final goodbye.
Well, those of you in the viewing public who maybe aren't Toastmasters, this gave you a little bit of a flavor to see what might be involved if you would think about joining Toastmasters one day. And that perhaps some of you are new members of Toastmasters. It'll be a while perhaps before you might yourself be a contestant at this level, but you get to see what could be in your future. And earlier on, you might be recruited to at least attend such a contest and take a role in the judging or in other respects, the administration of the contest. So until next time, this is Dan Murtis and Emily Harris, and we bid you have a fine day, and we look forward to your tuning in again next week.
Great working with you, Dan.
Great working with you.